Hello, my name's Ben,
And my name is Josh.
and welcome back to FPL Graduates, and welcome back to another YouTube video on our channel. And it's an exciting one, Josh, isn't it?
It is for you. It's going to be a Gameweek 33 free hit draft. I know you've probably seen 100 of them by now, but this one's going to be the best. Ben's free hitting this week. So, shall we take a look, Ben?
Yeah, let's get into it. Before we go in, it's worth bearing in mind that some of the transfers I haven't yet made. The reason being is I'm trying to catch as many price rises as possible. So some of the players are in there because they are rising in price. But let's get into it. So this is how the team is looking right now. It's very spicy, if I do say so myself. I'm going to go through the team and initially just go through my thought process as to why I picked each of these players. A lot of these, I've been looking at some stats from Fantasy Football Hub. They've been very good in sort of showing me the predicted stats for this week. And some of those players that are in there because of that and because of the merit that they've shown through their stats. Some, however, are based on sort of other metrics such as the eye test and that sort of thing and vibes, because we all know I love the vibes. We start off in goal with Schmeichel. This is one that I'm potentially unsure of right now. I'm sort of leaning between Schmeichel, Ramsdale, and Dubravka. Schmeichel is in there right now because he could potentially get a few save points, but I'm not backing them to get 2 out of 2 clean sheets. I think they get 1 out of the 2. And the same goes with the other keeper options. I think there's going to be one of them that gets the 2 clean sheets, but it's just trying to work out which one that is. In defence, I've got the cheap enabler in Ben White. Currently, he will be first on the bench. So if any of my single game week players don't play, that's a really strong player to have off the bench. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, this is one that could potentially be transferred out for a cheaper defender to upgrade elsewhere. Cancelo, Tejas, and Shaw, I think they're going to stay on my team. Tejas, very much looking forward to seeing how he plays. Luke Shaw is still out for another couple of weeks, so I think it's a safe bet to have in the back four there. You know, that United team, it's difficult sometimes to predict who's going to be playing fullback, but I think it's easier for this double game week, and I think he starts both of them. Cancelo, I mean, he's too good not to own in any home fixture this season. And Shah is in there because he's very cheap and he's got a relatively high ceiling considering he's a centre half. He's on a couple of set pieces I've seen this season, which is crazy, and he's got that aerial ability. Saka stayed in my team. I don't think I'm going to move off of him. He's just been a reliable one all season. Maddison is one that I'm unsure of. His minutes, I'm potentially scared of. I'm going to see how he goes in midweek. He's had a couple of price rises now, so we'll hopefully catch a little bit of value in there. But yeah, that could easily move to Bruno Fernandes in line with that Trent Alexander-Arnold move. Salah's going to stay in there. I know what he can do to United, and there's no way I'm going without him. A lot of people have almost been neglecting the single game week players this week. And I think that's a dangerous move to make, especially with the form that the likes of Son and Kane that I've got in my team are on. I've got both of them in my team, and I anticipate they're going to be in there by the deadline. I think it's a good chance that the ownership could be a little bit lower this week than it was last week, so we could take advantage. Dewsbury Hall, a really good enabler for me this week. I think he's a really good value, a lot of hype around him, but low risk in the investment. And then up front, we've got Wood and Kane. Wood could very well move to Shea Adams. I'm not confident on his stats over the last 5 game weeks. So that's the team. Josh, what are your initial thoughts? And let's see you sort of tear it apart and bring in a couple of moves that maybe you'd make to this team.
Yeah, I think for the most part, you've got the balance spot on. Like you mentioned, there's a few people just neglecting single game weeks and going all in on the doubles, which I can see the upside with the free hit being used. You want to make the most of the doubles. But in the same vein, you don't want to miss out on high effective ownership players. For example, Cancelo, Son, Kane, Salah. They're all 50% plus ownership. They're all going to negatively affect you if they return. They've all got pretty decent fixtures as well. You know, Brighton at home for both Spurs and City is a good fixture. Brighton have been really poor, barring that Arsenal game. And then also Liverpool, United at home. Salah's unreal at Anfield. And also United have been so poor defensively. Saying that, though, I really like Alex Telles as a pick, especially for the Norwich game. I think he is as good as nailed at left back. Luke Shaw's having to have 2 bolts removed from his leg from after he's broke it a few years back now. So I don't see him coming back anytime soon. That seems quite a lengthy one. So he's a great pick. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, why did you get him in? United have played so bad. But a week ago, people were saying, right, let's target United players. They're facing Everton. They've got a double. So I think that Everton game, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt, really. I think they will return against Norwich, especially the defence as well. Fabian Schär as well, great pick. He'd be my top Newcastle defensive pick if I had to pick any of them. Like you said, he's on set pieces, direct free kicks as well, may I add, and also his aerial ability, like you mentioned. Saka potentially could be a captain for a lot of people. I've seen that going around a lot. And like you said, with the Leicester players, it's all about who gets the minutes on Thursday. This should be uploaded on Thursday, so you should know tonight who's playing for Leicester. And I think whoever probably plays the least is who. What's your thoughts of that? Are you going to go for whoever plays the least, or just see how many minutes?
I think it's worth just seeing how many minutes they get. We've got to remember Barnes had his rest effectively last game week, so it's worth bearing that in mind. And previously, before that, he played 6 games in a row, and in a very congested time period. So it's worth noting that these Leicester players can sort of play 6 or 7 games in a really short space of time and then get one rest. So it's worth bearing that in mind. I think has Maddison had a rest recently? I believe he has. So he had one this week with Barnes, right?
He started this week, but I think he's only just come back from injury, so he's almost like building up his minutes. So you could definitely see him getting benched. But yeah, it's a tough one with all those. I think Dewsbury Hall is actually the most nailed out of all the midfielders. But obviously his ceiling isn't going to be 14 points or whatever that he got last week every single game week. But I think, like you said earlier, for 4.4 million, you really can't complain. So I think he's a good pick. Chris Wood, you're divided on him. I would strongly have him in my free hit team if I was going to have him. Why are you against him?
It's just he has very, very similar stats to Weghorst, and 2 goals in 15 games or so. It's not the greatest of returns. Yes, he scored last week. Yes, he's on penalties, but he's averaging sort of a shot on target every maybe 70, 75 minutes, I think is the stat, if I remember correctly. I apologize if it's wrong, but I think that's what it was, and it's not filling me with hope and confidence. Yes, it's a couple of good fixtures, but they could very well just not score. Simple as that. So I'm leaning towards more Shea Adams because his stats over the last few weeks have been insane. They've been very, very good for a player playing for a team like Southampton. So that's the reason I'm sort of tempted by someone like Shea Adams over Wood. And let's not get it wrong, Chris Wood is probably going to be quite a highly picked player, especially within the elite 1,000 to the top 100k. I think he's going to be a popular pick for those sort of seasoned FPL players.
Yeah, so one thing that Ben hasn't covered in his draft is Man United attackers. Obviously, they've got arguably on paper the best fixture this game week with Norwich at home. It's one that everyone looks towards in the single game weeks. Bruno Fernandes and Ronaldo, whether Ronaldo plays or not, we'll wait and see. Bruno should be playing though. Have you considered them? Obviously, you got 3 premiums all playing single game weeks. Would you remove any one of those to go to Bruno? I imagine is probably your preference.
So I've got a couple of options here, really. The first option is removing one of those attacking premiums, Son, Kane, or Salah, and it's a risky move, yes, but it could pay off. I mean, Brighton at home is on paper relatively tough fixture. It's not the easiest one, so you could easily get rid of one of Son or Kane and just roll that dice and hope that sort of Son or Kane matches one another, if that makes sense. So you could easily bring in Bruno through that way. The other way is Trent Alexander-Arnold. You could potentially bring him out and someone like Maddison or Saka, and that could provide your avenue to bring in Bruno Fernandes. In terms of whether I sort of drop any of the premiums, the most likely one in this scenario, I think, would probably be Trent Alexander-Arnold, especially if I'm bringing in a Manchester United player. Manchester United was so poor against Liverpool earlier on in the season. You've just got to think that they've got to be better and more up for it, especially with that top 4 on the line. So
yeah, that is Ben's free hit team for Gameweek 33. Let us know who you would change in the comments below. Are you free hitting this week? Or are you like me, just rolling it with the transfers? It's going to be interesting to see. There's going to be a lot of variance this week. What's your thoughts, Ben, on what's your rank aim? How much are you trying to climb back on this?
Well, I need to climb back quite a way. I've dropped massively over the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks. So if I can get anywhere sort of near from 87,000 in the world, I'd probably want to get to around 65, 60,000 in the world this week. That's a sort of realistic aim. If I can do that, I'll be very, very happy. But I'm also aware that quite a lot of people are free hitting. So my sort of rank rise may not be as big as I want it to be. But, you know, I think it's the right strategy going forwards. And let's see how it plays out, because there's a lot of really exciting free hit players that we can get in. And, yeah, a lot of avenues we can go down. You know, the template is wide open for this week, so we're really excited.
It definitely is. And if you want to see who we think are the best captaincy options, make sure you check out our last video where we go through our top 3 picks. There's some interesting ones in there, especially looking at Ben's draft as well. So yeah, make sure you check that out. But that is it for today's video.
Yeah, that is the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you like our content. And as usual, I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And we'll see you guys
Later. Have a good game week, everyone.